And we're back here on Gators Game Day Live for a fun post-game show. Florida pulls out the victory against LSU 27-16, and Florida made it look a little bit harder than it seemed at times, or maybe it could have been or should have been. But made a ton of plays in the second half, and were able to pull away with the victory. Bud, overall thoughts on the game? We thought 24-30 was kind of where they needed to get to, and they got there.
Yeah, super impressive. I mean, I was thinking, is this Billy Napier's best win?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I think just contextually with kind of the way the series had been going, and maybe the circumstances probably
Yeah,
for I would say it's bigger than the Utah game.
huge win for him. I mean, especially at this point in the program, everything's going on, all the recruits there. Essentially, his job on the line. You know, one of the last big win. I mean, you're going to beat FSU, but one of your last chances to you faced a tough schedule, really get a win against tough competition, and to get one. We kind of circled this one at the beginning of the year as like, hey, this is a tough stretch. This is probably the most winnable one, and he did it. And there wasn't a perfect game, but holy crap, the defensive line getting 7 sacks. LSU's given up 6 all year. Yeah, I mean that's it. That's the two things right there. The D line and Lagway are probably the big ones, but the defensive line. I was going to see, Seth. You've got a much better eye for this than I do. How many of the sacks were? It seemed like we had a good game plan to take away Nussmeier's first read.
Yeah,
And by the time he came off his first read, he was uncomfortable in the pocket. And then he didn't do a great job scrambling at all. And that's something he's been really good at.
He was able to extend some of those. There was a couple third downs where he was able to extend, but for the most part, I do think it was they took away a lot of the quick stuff early, and some of that was playing. They mixed up. I think they mixed up coverages.
Yeah.
And got him kind of second guessing a little bit. Took away some of the quick stuff because a lot of the conversions were he had to kind of hold it and then find a guy late, and they were back breaking, but there wasn't much where it was just catch and throw really fast. So
yeah, it was a lot of running backs. It was a lot of tight ends, H backs working kind of back a little bit.
And then I think we talked about it there's a couple things we talked about on the preview that I thought somewhat came to fruition, and one of them was just keeping the explosives in front of you and making LSU dink and dunk down the field. The other one we talked about that maybe they kind of thought about it similarly, but they attacked it in a little bit different way. Was we said with how little LSU runs the ball typically, should you treat them almost like an air raid team and be willing to drop more guys in the coverage? I think they kind of had a similar thought, but instead of dropping guys in the coverage, they were willing to just tell the defensive line, just, hey, you're pass rushing a ton. Just go full bore, get after it. And I think maybe that benefited guy like Caleb Banks. So I don't have to worry about holding up a gap. I'm just going and penetrating and trying to get to the quarterback. And he played really well. So I thought a pretty good playing on both sides of the ball.
It seemed like we had tendencies snuffed out. Like it felt like we were fast to screens. We were fast.
Rob's question: were you shocked that Billy threw it on second down with 5 minutes left? I think he trusts Lagway quite a bit.
Yeah,
and so I did see some in the second half. You're running the ball really well. Why aren't you running it more? Because they've got RPOs on, and Lagway just kept taking the throws.
Yeah.
And a couple of them were turning incompletions, but then a couple of them, like the one on the sideline to Badger where he makes a really great catch going down UF sideline, that was a run play that he had a single on that he could throw it if he wanted to, and he threw it. So, I think he trusts Lagway to make decisions, and he gives him options. So, not too shocked, but it was good to see them kind of not try to hold on for a win, but kind of go extend it.
Be aggressive. Yeah, I mean, that was a great game. Other than kicking the field goal in the first half, I did think we played a pretty aggressive game.
The one bad that sticks out to me, and it wasn't all pretty, but like if you wanted to, and I think you'll probably still have people pointing to this, like if you want to know why people want Billy Napier fired, the drive after the fumble was like a perfect encapsulation of kind of
three and out in a high value area.
You get the ball right back, you false start, and then you go 3 and out, and then get pushed so far back that you're out of field goal range.
Yeah,
like that. I think when the bad parts, and this is a good win, so we're not going to harp on bad stuff, but like the team still is not buttoned up at times as much as you think they should, as much as they probably should be. But they played really well overall today. I thought they had a really good play on both sides of the ball. I'll throw up the game on paper stuff, and the yards per play ended up being. Florida has a lot of green.
Yeah, I mean the two explosives jump out, especially. Florida is a very explosive team. Lagway is a very explosive QB. He had a great explosive game. That's one of the stories of the game there, I think. The yards per play, it shows up there as well. The third, DJ is him. That throw where he stepped up.
The throw to Badger right before
before we go tempo touchdown and run it in. Like, that was a great one. Like, he went from sack to putting a guy on the 1 yard line. Like, and that's a play true freshmen do not make.
And there is a skill to, I think it's almost innate, like knowing that I have a guy open and I just need to get the ball out of my hand.
Yeah.
Like there's other guys, I don't, not to despair, but that may be one where Graham Mertz maybe steps up, but he's still not able to get the throw off, right? Or he's got to pull it down and throw it, or maybe.
Yep.
But Lagway steps up, he knows he has it, and rips a dart and right on target. He made some unbelievable throw. I mean, there was a throw where he gets rushed. I think it was an incomplete. It ended up being incomplete. He's thrown to DK, and he kind of throws it turned this way and throws it back across his body, almost no look, just because he got pressure so fast.
Great.
He's like a real. I mean, seems to be early returns suggest hype, living up to the hype, program changing type guy with a good with the kind of the weapons he has around him.
Yeah. And so I think, that jumps out. That's going to be something that jumps out on paper from this game is, LSU took we're going to dink and duck it, and Florida took we're going to throw it and go for the chunk plays. And I think it showed up on the scoreboard. The havoc rate, high for both teams, especially high for Florida, and against an LSU team that's very good at limiting those things. That jumps out to me. I think the red zone success numbers might be bonked here. I was trying to think about this. I was like, is this just we got in the red zone one time? And it's the 1 yard
it may have been. Yeah.
So that's kind of funny.
And did they get I don't know if they got in the red zone. Did they maybe once and have to kick a field goal?
Funky one there. So this is a game where if you're training a model on, predict who wins the game based on these important variables, this one throws you for a loop.
Not to toot our horn, bud, but we did talk about red zone scoring touchdowns in the red zone. That was one of our keys to the game. Yeah,
huge part. The one play
that bears out huge. Look at that. Florida won the red zone battle.
All right, can you scroll down? I think there's an EPA loss due to penalties. I want to see what that is because I think. If Florida didn't shoot themselves twice in high leverage situations with penalties, we might come out with, 35 or more. Oh yeah, here it is down there. Penalty EPA. All right, we lost about 4 points. That's not terrible. That's basically turning one of those touchdowns into a field goal, which it is what it is. So,
and go ahead.
I was just gonna say, anytime we're positive EPA, they're negative EPA. That's a great game. Take that. You got to be happy about that.
So this isn't one of those ones you're going to look back on and it's going to be like, well, LSU had a post-game win expectancy of 57, and they you think this is going to be one where post-game the models are going to say, yeah, Florida was a rightful victor?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's going to be pretty clear cut. You might end up seeing something like a crazy high EPA for Nussmeier. It'll be weird with the fumbles, but third downs are such high EPA plays, and those were all on him. It wouldn't shock me if where'd he end up? Breaking him out. Now he's still negative.
Yeah.
All right, it's not
Lagway with about 3 EPA.
Yeah, so it would have been interesting. Sometimes those games where you convert a bunch of third and longs, you can get with really wonky EPA stats.
Man, so LSU ended up with 24 third downs.
That's nuts.
They went 13 to 24 and went 2 of 4 on fourth down. So they went 15 of 28 in kind of drive extending circumstances. But
that's crazy.
28 seems like a high number of drive extending plays. So
I mean, good job on the defense. Bend don't break. They kept it in front of them. It seemed like they executed the game plan. Those guys should be really proud. Yeah, I'm proud of the Gators for tonight. That was a great game.
Yeah, really great win by Florida. I did want to touch on one piece of film here. So anything else on the on Game on Paper? Anything else you wanted to see?
Man, I feel so bad for whoever has to catch the model for how the play breaks down for the sack, fumble, offensive lineman fumble recovered by Florida. Like, how does that get broken out? Who gets assigned what? That's a tough one.
Average starting field position, a sneaky, if that's accurate, that's a sneaky big part right there. Own 13 and own 37.
Dang.
That's a big help for Florida there. All right. So I wanted to look at the Jaden Ball touchdown run. We don't give Billy a lot of credit for being super creative. This was a really, really well-designed counter to stuff Florida likes to do. So this is a typical Florida boot play. It's not going to be the exact same setup here for the Jaden Ball touchdown, but just it's not too dissimilar. But the action I want you to focus on, don't worry, he's going to motion across, but that's not the action I want to focus on. The tight end running to the flat and the quarterback fronting out for the boot, right? So Lagway's front side, he's going to motion across, run a wheel, he's going to run the post, but it's the quarterback and the tight end action here. So we're trying to sneak the tight end into the flat here. He's opening front side, and then I can boot and make the throw, right? So don't really worry about DK. Let's watch Boardingham, right? This action right here. Front side, tight end coming here. He's going to slip it, right? This is against Tennessee, but this is a staple, right? And he throws the wheel. Great throw by Lagway. But this action, we talk about Florida always boots to the right. This action is a boot action. So right here, you see this as a defense. You're thinking boot. This is they're booting or they're handing off, right? Like duo right there. But that's a big boot tendency for Florida. All right, so here's the Jaden Ball touchdown. I had to screen record this off my phone, send it to Google Drive, upload it very fast. But watch the action here. Front side out. Come across like you're going to the flat. Get some play there. And then flip it back. So make it look right here. It looks just like the boot play we showed from Tennessee. Try to get some hold up here. And then flip it out. And then a really good job. And then Ball does the rest. So always good to get an untouched for 40-yard touchdown run. But I thought it was really cool design because right here it looks like boot, and now we flip it back the other way to the back. He gets vertical in the seam, and it's a touchdown. And you lose some of the backside pursuit because of that first angle. So
just great blocking, Hansen,
yes,
Barber, I said Najee Harris.
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah.
Boom. Yeah, this is great. That's Weeks, who's all everything, kind of a linebacker. runs
And then
him
look at
by.
Hansen.
Yeah, great cut. Hansen is a big dude. Great catch and run by him earlier, too, on that drive. So, really good stuff. So, you got to give credit where credit's due on the design there. Really, really close to the boot stuff, which I would bet on 1st and 10 is a big tendency, too.
Yeah.
1st and 10, that section of the field, take a boot.
That part of the field, that's what I was about to say. Is that part of the field, that's when we love it.
Really nice tendency breaker there for the touchdown. So I thought that was a really, really cool setup, just in a good bit of self-scouting there to get that thing out the other way, and then great execution by the players. So we've seen flashes throughout the year, flashes throughout Napier's tenure. Seemed to put a lot more together this week, and we're able to sustain it for a full game. I know at halftime we had a lot of it's been fun, boys, but I don't think they're going to be able to hold on. And they were able to this week. So really, really good performance from Florida.
Yeah, I mean, still the defense, like Lagway, I knew he had that in him. I'm not totally surprised that, we ended up with 27. I'm happy about it. Defense, man. Those guys came to play. That's pretty shocking, especially this late in the year with injuries. Fair bit of young guys out there.
Yeah. 4.4 yards per play, 39% success rate is what LSU ended up with, and negative EPA per drop back.
That's a good passing offense. That was
and that was one of your big questions, right? When Florida had that kind of defensive resurgence in the middle of this season, it was against teams that were heavy running, didn't throw the ball really well.
Yeah. This is the best passing team we've beaten.
Yeah.
So Seth, does this change? You and I feel like have been a little bit out on Napier. And does this change your view at all? I mean, we're over the win total. Likely going to beat FSU to get bowl eligible. I think it has me feeling a little bit different outlook.
I think you feel better, but it's still, man, it's such a – I think this is one of those ones where, I think in our preseason previews we may have talked about it, but you felt like, all right, if you make a bowl game and win a bowl game or make a bowl game with the schedule, yeah, you feel really good. But some of the teams have not been as good as we thought they'd be on the schedule.
Yeah.
And Florida's gacked away a couple and looked bad in a couple. So it's I don't know. It's kind of tough to there definitely seems to be things you're like, I don't like this is not getting fixed to year 3, but really good to see them kind of put it all together today and beat what's been a pretty good LSU team, not like a dominant LSU team.
No.
And that's why the line is so short. But what's been a pretty good LSU, I mean, this team beat Ole Miss earlier this year, who you play next week, who's looked like one of the better teams in the country last week against Georgia. So this is not a poor team, but it's good to see them put it all together. I don't know, but I do think that if you were going to create a lot of positive momentum going into next season, after the announcing keeping Napier, winning this one with a big, I think was a pretty big recruiting weekend in terms of you got some pretty big names on campus. You get a couple of those guys to pop and you kind of get the recruiting class back on track. I think people would feel a lot better. But I still think there's obviously a ton of questions. So I don't know. It's kind of it's you feel good, and I think you could feel better than you did before. But I don't know if you feel great going forward and into the future. But at least it gives some hope. And Lagway is just he may be too big to fail, maybe too good to fail.
Yeah, I think I'm on the same page. Like, I don't think this is like, well,
we're back, baby. Yeah,
we're back 100%. Yeah. But this is like, you see a lot of pieces in a game like this that you're like, okay, if we can get some consistency here, this is Florida. This is what Florida needs to look like.
I know. I looked out a couple times at the defense, and other than Sapp, it was all first or second year guys.
I know
in the program. And you're like, okay, like that's kind of the positive. How do you feel right now if they'd beaten Tennessee?
I know.
That's where like there were so many times, and even happened in this game where there's been a lot of opportunities that have not been taken advantage of in these last 3 years on the field and off the field. But tonight they took advantage of enough of the opportunities to win.
Yeah, so. And celebrate it, enjoy it. Like
yes,
you don't get to enjoy a big victory in the SEC over a good opponent like LSU. You don't get that all of the time. So enjoy it, celebrate the defense, celebrate the offense. That was a complete victory. So great job.
Really good stuff and fun to watch. So
yeah,
Lagway, he's a dude.
I know. He's so good. We're really, I did a hashtag blessed.
Hashtag blessed. Yes. Yeah. I saw that. He's really good, man. He might be a program changer, might be a job saver. We'll see. And I think he's probably a guy people would want to play with.
Yeah.
You think after watching him? I mean, I see. You see a lot of national media guys, national recruiting guys that followed him last year, kind of being like, "Holy cow!" Like it's like he's created a lot of national buzz already.
And we talked about
finish it off strong. This would be interesting going to the offseason.
When we talk about pros and cons of Napier, one thing that I think we've consistently talked about as a pro is he gets a lot out of his quarterbacks. This is by far the best quarterback he's ever had.
Yes, and much better thrower than Richardson.
Yeah, what you can get out of him. I mean, you look how Richardson played in the pros. He made Richardson awesome.
Yeah, he helped make him a good bit of money. Yeah, I think really good evaluations at transfer portal receiver. Badger was awesome. I think he led the team and I want to go back and look at it. EPA, 6.88 EPA for Badger, a 50% success rate when targeted. Yeah. 10 targets, 6 catches, 131 yards, and a touchdown. He is a stud. DK's been really good. So there's some good pieces on the team. Hopefully they can put it all together. There's still some things left to be desired, I think, but hey, man, wins are wins at this point. Enjoy it.
Agreed. Anything else?
No, I think that's it. I mean, I think Napier's up at the podium now, so this might be a fun one to go listen to.
Yeah, let's
feel happy for him and the coaching staff and all the 8,000 people that work around the program and the players who, like, it's kind of a joke and a cliche. They play hard, but they do. Yeah. So it's good to see them rewarded for not throwing in the towel like you see in other places around the state. So good for them. All right. Well, thank you guys for watching. Leave a comment. What was your favorite play of the game?
Yeah.
Let us know what your favorite play is. Does this make you feel better about Napier?
Yeah.
Let us know.
Your qualms. So let us know. We'll try and talk them out next week. But
use the comment section as a little bit of a therapy. Just put all your thoughts in there. We'll address them next week on an Ole Miss preview that's a little bit more exciting now. So
absolutely.
All right, bud. Have a good night. Go Gators.
You too. Go Gators.